What's going on, guys? Fun with Eyes back again. And if you missed my live unboxing today at 7 p.m. my time, you're probably wondering where that video is. And you're not going to be able to find it because, well, first of all, I'm not a smart man. I'm completely new to the live scene when it comes to YouTube, and I accidentally deleted that video after the live portion was over with. So I do apologize for that, and that is the reason behind this video. I kind of have to do the whole thing over again because I doubt the majority of my subscribers or viewers saw that video, so you guys really don't know what knife won. So a couple videos back, I asked you guys to help me select my next knife. You guys picked it for me, and I scored it like this. If you commented a particular knife model, that knife model got a point. And if your comment or any other comments voting for the same knife got liked, each like counted as a half a point, and we had a clear winner. I'll probably go over some of the runner-ups off the top of my head. I had a spreadsheet going that I don't have in front of me, but you guys are here for the winner. So what you're seeing right now is part of the box that Blade HQ sent me. And you can see that they will draw you pretty much anything you want. And I told them to let their creativity flow and draw me something funny. So they did this, which I thought was pretty funny. This is from Calvin and Hobbes, obviously. So I just cut that off the box so you guys could see it. But this is the knife that won. And it's something entirely new to me. You can see this is a Browse blade. Quality, innovative, custom knives. Now, I've looked at Browse blades in the past. I've never made a purchase, obviously, but I have had my eye on some of their models. And it was funny, the vast majority of knives that got commented or voted for were knives that I'd probably be happy to own. And this is one of them. The Browse Sniper Frame Lock was what you guys voted for me to buy. And I certainly did that. I listened to you guys, and we have it here to show you today. So, if you guys missed the live unboxing, this video is for you. If you caught the live unboxing, which was purely 25 minutes of, I don't know, knife banter, knife just rambling, and I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, the time went by really fast. I'd love to do more live videos in the future, but I definitely need to get better at time management and actually, you know, maybe saving the video when I'm done with it. So let's do a quick unboxing here, go over some of the features, and this video will serve as a platform for comments and things like that where you guys didn't have one since that live video was deleted. So once you open this Pelican style case, you're going to see these two items. Go over the case real quick, which I think is pretty cool. I had no idea that these shipped with these. You can see here, what does it say here? Please visit our website to see additional knives and gear, browseblades.com. So kind of that honeycomb hexagon shapes all over this. Kind of cool. It's kind of like a mini little Pelican case. Nice touch on a pretty high quality knife manufacturer if my information is to be correct. And here is your certificate of authenticity, Browse blades. That's pretty cool. Creation date for this one was 12/2 of last year. There's a tool to do some service, which is pretty cool. Looks like a T8 and a T6 if I'm not mistaken. And this is serialized. So this is 525 out of 1,000. I had no idea before unboxing this the initial time that this was a numbered piece. And you can see their handle material is stainless steel and the blade steel is D2. Let's get a look at this thing. That is one pretty blade. Let's test that action out. Look at that. Kind of got the fillet knife thing going on to it. Very nice, slender, and elegant, if I do say so myself. I am definitely excited to own this one because I've never experienced Browse blades in the past, and I've heard lots and lots of good things. So I think some of the runner-ups, let's set this on this side so you guys can actually take a look at it. I think some of the runners-up were definitely the Manix 2 in G10, which I'd have been more than happy with. I think I would love that model in G10. I do have the lightweight version. The Kaiser Roach was up there as well. The Steel Will Cut Jack was among probably the top 5. And there was one other, the Cold Steel Code 4 was up there, and a few others that got multiple votes. So let's look at the winner here. Stainless steel handles. I'm guessing a stainless steel clip. And then you do have your D2 steel blade. So this is entirely made out of steel, and it doesn't feel extremely heavy for as large as it is. And honestly, it's not that large, it's just kind of long. If I had to give you a good size comparison, it would be the knife I was carrying today that's all dirty from me using it, the Spyderco Endura. These are nearly the same size knife. I mean, obviously the Endura is going to be lighter, but if you line these cutting edges up, I think the Sniper here is going to have a little bit longer as far as cutting edge, just because it has kind of that upswept tip. But as far as overall size, they're going to be around the same. So I don't want to give you guys all the specs on this thing. Well, that'll come later in the review, but I think we're looking at around a 3 3/4 inch blade. So that's a lot of blade, a lot of D2 steel. This looks like a hollow grind, and it comes down to a nice keen edge. I did a little cut test in that live unboxing, but I suppose we can do that now. Got a little bank statement here that I might as well open. Oh man, that's just, it's almost overly slicey right now. Yep, that is one sharp blade right out of the box. Browse Blades logo there. Just that BB. And this side is completely sterile, which is cool. There's a little oil on it from it being in transit, of course. I want to protect that carbon steel, or that tool steel rather. And then you can see here 525 out of 1000 right on the flipper tab, which is pretty cool. But that blade to me is fairly upswept, but it kind of reminds me of a fillet knife and a little bit of the Kershaw shallot. I mean, that's the only knife I think I've owned in the past that is fairly comparable to this in design. This looks like a shallot to me, a little bit. I'm not saying one design was stolen from the other. I think that's far from the case, but as far as its overall presence, I think the shallot is a decent comparison if you guys have owned that one, or at least held that one. This is a flipper riding on ball bearings. I'm not sure if they're steel or they're ceramic or if they're cage. I don't know what's going on in there. Maybe I'll do a, disassembly and really take a look into this thing. But this is a flipper with a pretty nice action. I don't want to say it's amazing, but it definitely fires out there. This is a fairly lightweight blade. I think it's coming from around 0.18, or I'm sorry, an eighth of an inch, so probably around 0.12. Again, I haven't looked up the specs, but that seems fairly standard. And it comes down to a very acute point. I mean, that thing is insanely pointy. That seems to be nicely sharpened. This is the satin finish version. I don't know what's going on with my camera there. Sorry, guys. This is the satin version. From what I know, Browse Blades is in the upper echelon of my price range at the moment. And, a lot of their blades are 200 plus, 300 plus, which is not necessarily unattainable, but it is pricey. And this is, to my knowledge, a budget design for them. I've seen the Sniper before in aluminum scales with a liner lock, but this is the steel frame lock version with D2, and this was only $89, I believe. And I think the stone wash version of this is going to be right around 100, and they have kind of an acid wash one that's going to be 120 or so. So the finish does make a large difference as far as price goes. So let's take a look at that frame lock. So the action's pretty good. The D10 is not perfect. You can see you get kind of those actions occasionally, but as long as you get a positive grip on that flipper tab, that's going to fire open. You can see here is the flipper tab. No jimping. Fairly rounded off though. It's not sharp, not hard to use, and it will accept both a push button and a light switch. Well, if you can actually flip the knife correctly, as you should. This is an all stainless steel handle with a stainless steel frame lock. It's locking up around probably 50-60% and is very solid. But this is my first nitpick, is there's some lock stick there. You can hear it. I'm not sure why that's the case. I had a little bit of advice in that live stream about some compounds or something that I could put on there to eliminate that lock stick, but it's kind of interesting that a stainless steel frame lock would have lock stick when that's usually a problem with titanium on steel. So not sure why that's the case. Maybe it'll work out in the next couple of days. If not, I'll have to address it. But that frame lock is definitely solid with some pretty high lock bar tension. I mean, that lock bar really wants to stay engaged, which is probably a good thing so you don't end up having the knife close on you. The centering to me looks dead on, as well as the edge bevel there. Nothing's skewed to either side. Construction's very simple. You got two standoffs here. They're kind of in an hourglass shape and screw in from only one side. So your show sight here is completely devoid of hardware other than your pivot, which I think is pretty cool. It's got a nice, streamlined, elegant kind of tactical gentleman's carry knife. I don't know really how to explain it, but it looks good. Now the stainless steel handle to me just looks blasted or sanded or something like that. It's kind of got that matte gray going on to contrast with the satin blade, which I think looks pretty good. I mean, it's a silvery theme overall, but without doing any coating or anything like that, I think it's a good choice. Something really interesting here, you have a lock bar over travel stop that is essentially the pivot collar on the lock side of the knife. So you can see that functions as you press it over really hard. It's not going to overextend, which is a cool feature and very minimal in design. Your lock bar relief cut is on the inside of the design as well. So even on the lock side, even on the clip side, it's got a very flowing, uninterrupted design, which I like. I do like that quite a bit. I noted this earlier. This lock bar seems short. I don't know why the cutout doesn't seem to go as far as other knives, but it seems to work just fine. But yeah, the sprung part of the lock itself of the frame just seems kind of short in this dimension. I don't know, maybe because the knife is so long, I'm getting that impression. But this is got lots of traction, surprisingly, even though it's completely made out of metal and smooth metal at that. This is not really contoured. This is just flat pieces of steel that are chamfered along the edges. So, but it's really, really good in hand. Something about these ergonomics are just very good. Now there's jimping along the top of the blade, on the spine here, and the back of the frame. And it just feels pretty nice. It's not overly aggressive, but I like this kind of jimping, and it continues down here on the underside of the handle as well. So you got all sorts of traction points, plus a finger choil and a kind of guard from that flipper, as most flippers do have that feature. It feels really good. Even if you want to throw your thumb up top or put it in reverse grip, it just feels natural in hand. But I love the dimension here. It's nice and slim, like, you know, other than the flipper tab, which is always going to take up some space. This is kind of a pocket pecker, as Nick Shabazz would say, but it's not going to be too bad. I think that this slope of the knife would continue and kind of cover that anyway in pocket, so I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue, but it's really slim in just about every dimension, meaning that this is going to be very easy to carry in tandem with this clip. I mean, could you imagine a more minimal deep carry clip? It mounts from the inside. There's 2 screws on the inside of the scale, and it's got nice tension to it, and that's going to ride insanely deep. There's not a whole lot of clearance here for some thick jeans or anything like that, so I'll have to let you know how it carries over time. I do plan on, you know, carrying this. Wow, that was a terrible deployment. I do plan on carrying it, using it, and reviewing it in the future, but I am fairly impressed. And there is some milling there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me get my light out here. You guys see that right there? There's some milling along the inside of the handle and magnetic O-lights, and metal tripods do not mix, but there is skeletonization going on in there to reduce that weight, which could be a little bit heavier, I think. But overall, action's good. It seems sharp right out of the box. D2 is a good steel, and I guess Browse Blades is really good with it. A very simple, elegant, yet seems to be a very functional design. We'll see how it performs. But yeah, that's the knife that you guys picked for me to buy, and thanks for everybody who participated. It was a lot of fun kind of going into the unknown and letting someone else pick a knife for me. And like I said, I would have been happy with most of the knives that you guys picked anyway. Here's a little lock bar cut there to make it a little bit easier to access. You guys can see that there, right there. Lock bar is pretty easy to get into and disengage if it wasn't for that damn lock stick. So other than the lock stick, I'm fairly impressed. I wish the D10 was just a little bit more dialed in, but as far as flippers goes, this is a good one, and especially at the sub $100 price point, which is giving average Joes like me the opportunity to take a look at Browse Blades. So overall, I'm impressed, and I do appreciate you guys weighing in on what you guys thought would be my next knife, because I made it happen. And I had a question too. I should probably address this here. The sharpening choil is not perfect on this thing. You can see the edge kind of flares out in thickness towards the end there. I wish that sharpening choil would have came a little bit further towards the tip. You know, I made sure this was a uniform edge, but not something I'm super concerned with. Might make a little modification in the future if I feel the need. But you can see that satin blade's really getting those fingerprints, but it sure is pretty. So now that we're 15 minutes in, I have apologized for me deleting the initial live unboxing video. I will do more live videos in the future because it was a lot of fun to kind of talk to you guys in real time, kind of respond back and forth. And I don't know how many people we had watching. It was constantly fluctuating. I don't know how many views there were, but it seemed like there was enough support there that I could definitely do it again. So, thanks for watching, guys, as always, and remember, have fun with your knives.